for a more in-depth look at that, we're joined tonight by political analyst and publisher of the Quorum Report, Harvey Kronberg. Harvey, welcome back in.
Always good to be here, James.
So Aaron just told us how Texas Republicans are cracking down on the growth of Islam in the state. Harvey, where is that coming from? What is happening? Why are Republicans so interested in this issue right now?
Well, it's Sharia law can be mischaracterized, obviously, but it's. I think their mistake is that they think it's essentially a powerless group. I should point out that although Muslims in Texas are only about 2% of the population, 71% of them vote. And two of the most Republican counties in the state, or formerly most Republican counties in the state, Collin County and Fort Bend County, have become increasingly purple as a result of the Muslim population voting. But generally, I think it's simply because it's perceived to be a relatively powerless target, easy to inflame people about, and it's the target du jour of the Republican Party.
Yeah, target du jour because immigration has obviously slowed down, it's trickled down, and there's not that much impact on that. So it seems to be a lot more attention is now being paid to these concerns about Sharia law.
It's obviously a population, a portion of that population that appears different, that looks different, and
worships different.
Exactly, has strange customs, generally Christian society. So it's easy to mischaracterize and vilify, and I'm afraid that's the race to the bottom that they're pursuing at the moment.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at something else that's happening along those same lines, because in Congressional District 35, there's a controversy brewing there, as we mentioned earlier. Maureen Galindo, who's the Democratic candidate who got the most votes in the Democratic primary, she's being accused of making anti-Semitic comments. There's another candidate, Johnny Garcia, in that race. But Harvey, what do you make of those comments, and what impact could that have on the race?
Well, frankly, having trolled through her comments and her YouTube postings, et cetera, it's not. There's no question she's clearly anti-Semitic. At the last state Democratic convention, there was a strong, self-styled pro-Palestinian contingent. Frankly, they were more pro-Hamas than they were pro-Palestinian, and those should be separated. There's obviously a constituency inside the Democratic Party that's conflating being opposed to Netanyahu's policies with being anti-Semitic. Same thing is going on in the Republican Party. The money that is coming in to help her right now appears to be Republican money because she's going to be an easier target to take out. She's a sex therapist. She's a conspiracy theorist. And
she's very liberal, it has to be said, from her policies.
And it should also be said that although she was the biggest vote getter during the primary, she only got about a quarter of the votes, about 25% of the votes.
Yeah, and I only mentioned that she's very liberal because the district was drawn to be more pro-Trump and more pro-Republican. Right. So I think that maybe
it did swing, I think, 25 points from Harris to Trump.
Right, but let me stay on this issue though, because you brought up a good point, which is the point that Galindo brings up, which is that you can be critical of the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic, but you guys are both saying the same thing, but you're taking something completely different from what she's saying.
I've trolled through any number of her postings, and this is not just being opposed to the state of Israel or the Netanyahu government. Frankly, there's a number of Jews that are, it divides the Jewish community too.
Yeah.
She goes way overboard. And,
the language she's using.
Exactly,
yeah.
And it's very inflammatory, and it is specifically targeting Jews, not Israel.
Well, let's see what happens with that, but let's turn to the big race, Senate race. We're just a week out from early voting, and the gloves are fully off, Harvey. Over the Mother's Day weekend, the Corning Camp put out an ad saying Ken Paxton, this is a quote, Ken Paxton cheated on the mother of his children, and asking, quote, Texas mothers, would you want your daughters marrying a man like Ken Paxton? The question, though, Harvey, is will these ads have any impact on the Republican primary voters?
What's interesting about this ad, they've been doing a full-throated assault on Paxton's ethical misdeeds, shall we say, for a long time now. But this is a sale closer. This is personalizing it. It's asking, would you want your daughter? That personalizes it. And frankly, the polling still leans towards Paxton. The question's always going to be turned out over a Memorial Day holiday. And this is the kind of, when you personalize things like that, at least in sales technique, it can be effective. The real question, though, is the more MAGA profiled voter going to be more predisposed to vote in the runoff than the more establishment
It's
style
all about
Republican.
getting your voters to the poll and whether this kind of ad activates them. So that's our Harvey Kronberg. Thanks so much for joining the program.
My pleasure, James.